Hi, everybody. How are you doing? Hope you guys are doing well. It's a beautiful day, so I hope you guys get outside for a nice walk this evening. It's gorgeous outside. Finally, nice weather. It's wonderful. So I went to Vivian's class in 2005, and it's funny, I found that a lot of my classmates, we all gravitated towards holistic nutrition because we all had something wrong. And we wanted something health related to be able to fix it. And I find that in my practice that a lot of the people that come and see me, they've done the doctor route. They've done, they feel like they've exhausted a lot of external practitioners, and they just want something a little bit more natural. And it's funny, I think a lot of people, and I've talked to friends that are naturopaths and friends that are chiropractors, and they all come to their profession because they wanted something natural. And what's more natural than food? And I'm a nutritionist first and a homeopath second, because I can give people, so let's say somebody has insomnia, and I give them homeopathic coffea, which is homeopathic coffee. If I give them a bunch of doses of that, it's not going to do anything if they're still having 15 cups of coffee during the day. So you always have to address dietary first. And it's easy. We can affect our health with every bite we take. Every 3 to 5 times a day, depending on how frequently people eat, we can affect our diet in a positive aspect. And I've seen this with my patients. I've seen patients lose over 100 pounds. I've had patients remove having eczema, other patients where their asthma attacks have drastically reduced. They're not going in every spring or every fall, going in, kids primarily, going in and having to have their aspirations done because I've changed their food. And it's amazing, just changing food can change someone's life and can change a positive aspect of them. And it's just something we do. It's part of our innate nature is to eat. We have to eat to survive. So why not eat good food? Which is leading me into my presentation today. Today, we're going to be talking about superfoods. So let me just, my COVID world of teaching via Zoom. Okay. Can everybody see my screen okay?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So we're going to talk about energizing your body and increasing your vitality with superfoods. And this is something we can do. Like I said, we could do this every single meal, and it doesn't have to be overwhelming. It can just be having bits and bobs all the time to be able to facilitate better health. So, but what is a superfood? So a superfood is a marketing term. And it's for food that's claimed to offer health benefits. And it's usually resulting because these foods are very nutrient dense. There's no single food, not even a superfood, that can offer all the nutrition and health benefits and energy we need to nourish ourselves. There's no panacea. So we have to be able to eat a broad recommendation. Our recommendation is a broad range of foods and maintaining within our calorie limits. And we don't need, when it comes to superfoods, we don't need a lot of it. So it's really quality over quantity when we're talking about superfoods. But where do superfoods originate? So one of the first superfoods was a banana. And it experienced a spike in popularity in 1999 after bananas were endorsed by medical journals and researchers published their findings, the using of a banana diet to treat conditions like celiac disease and diabetes. So since then, superfoods have become a catch-all term for a variety of nutrient-dense foods that are particularly beneficial for our well-being. These superfoods offer some very important nutrients. They can power pack your meals and snacks and further enhance healthy eating pattern. Again, we always are an advocate of a broad range of food. Don't just eat one food all the time. There are nutrient-dense foods, so you don't need a lot of these. Again, it really comes down to quality over quantity of food. So for instance, a cup of white rice nutriently is much different than a cup of quinoa in its nutrient density. The carbohydrates are relative the same, but the nutrient density you get from quinoa is much greater than what you get from a cup of white rice. But the bottom line, these nutrient-dense foods that I'm going to give you today give you more bang for your nutrient buck. And that's what you need. You don't need a lot of it. You just need a little, and if doing a little bit all the time improves your health, that's the way to go. So nutrient dense definitions, you're going to see a few of these throughout the presentation. So phytochemicals are called flavonoids. Flavonoids are kind of an antioxidant that protect your body from aging and disease. ORAC scale is the oxygen radical absorbent capacity. You hear this in reference to things like blueberries or cranberries. So it's a measure of the ability of a food or any other substance to quench oxygen-free radicals in a test tube. Some studies have shown that antioxidants in foods can boost antioxidant power in the blood, which is great because that means anything that's carried in the blood gets carried to your cells. Antioxidants are chemical compounds that protect cells against the effect of free radicals. Now, do you guys know what free radicals are? I'm not seeing any faces. Okay, so free radicals are basically an electron that's missing a little. Sorry, it's a cell that's missing an electron. So it's bouncing around trying to grab that electron, and as it's bouncing into other cells, it's actually damaging other cells and creating more free radicals. So vitamin C and vitamin E are great ways of being able to lend their electron to this cell to calm it down, so it doesn't. It's kind of like the surfer dude. You know, it's like, hey, dude, take my electron, calm down, it's totally fine. And that's what they do. They just calm down this cell, and now that free radical is calmed. But vitamin C and vitamin E in themselves, giving up that electron, do not themselves become free radicals. And vitamin C and vitamin E work in tandem together, because vitamin C can get a little antsy without its electron, but vitamin E comes in and calms it down. So complementary, vitamin C, vitamin E work really well together in being able to calm down free radicals. And when we're looking at these foods that we're talking about today, there is a lot of vitamin C and vitamin E in them, in various different foods, in different quantities. So the first one we're going to look at is whole grains. And again, this is a good source of soluble and insoluble fibers. And we're talking about whole grains. They contain several B vitamins, minerals, and phytonutrients. And why do we like B vitamins? Well, we need B vitamins from whole grains, and primarily we get them from whole grains or dark greens. B vitamins help us metabolize carbs and fats. And without B vitamins, we kind of don't do it really well. So this is why people that are on keto might be missing out on a bunch of B vitamins. And B vitamins and zinc, those two nutrients together, so all the B vitamins being 1, 2, 3, and 6, all the B complex and zinc together, they work at providing cofactors for every enzymatic activity in the body. And that could be changing serotonin along the enzymatic pathway into melatonin. So there's lots of ways in which B vitamins are very, very beneficial. B vitamins are also our energy vitamins. So we need those for our energy, because it does help us digest carbs and fats. Whole grains have been shown to lower cholesterol and protect the heart against heart disease and diabetes. And what happens is whole grains will grab onto cholesterol in the gut and carry it out through the feces, as long as the gut remains healthy as well. So, but that's where the whole grains come in. It grabs onto that and says, "Come on, bud, we're gonna go. We're gonna leave the scene." So they hang on to each other until they evacuate. Now, how to include them in your diet? Well, again, a bowl of oatmeal for breakfast. You can substitute bulgur, quinoa, wheat berries, brown rice for your usual baked potato. When buying breads in the supermarket, you always want to see the first ingredient is 100% whole wheat flour or 100% whole grains. You want to be able to see that as the first ingredient, because that tells you that it is a whole grain product as opposed to a processed grain. So ones that just say whole wheat, not 100%, it's more of a processed whole wheat flour as opposed to a whole grain flour, okay? Acai berries, they're very high in antioxidants, B vitamins, magnesium, potassium, there's healthy fats, there's phosphorus in that. Studies have shown that acai berries have anti-inflammatory properties. They help improve cognitive function, so really good for either the really young or the elderly, or people that have gone through a brain trauma. Help maintain healthy blood sugar levels because it stabilizes blood sugars, and it protects us against heart disease because it's very high in antioxidants. So berries in general have also been suggested to help slow down age-related memory loss as well, but acai especially. In acai, you don't really ever get the berries. You'll get it in a powdered form, and it's easy to add to a smoothie. You can mix it with some yogurt, some whole grain granola, plant-based yogurt. You can also put it into protein balls if you're making protein balls. It's a really good way of being able to put more of that nutrient-dense foods into your routines. And what's great is it's a really nice bright purple color. I like purple. It's a nice color. And there's anthocyanins in that as well, which are really good for blood cleansing. Plant-based protein, again, we're talking about protein powders, and it's a branched chain amino acid. Amino acids are a breakdown of protein. So if we have a piece of chicken, we have an egg, we have a steak, those are all broken down into the body into amino acids, and those are our building blocks. And that does everything. It gives us the amino acids for our healing factors, hormones, and cell regeneration. So again, getting these branched chain amino acids and essential amino acids, and they're especially high in lysine, and lysine is really good for muscle building. And lysine has been researched extensively for its ability to help balance blood glucose, as well as the ability to increase muscle strength and combat anxiety. And how to include them, easy peasy. Put it into a smoothie post-workout. This helps rebuild muscles when you combine them with a fruit or an oats. Again, you can put that into a protein ball if you want to snack when you're working out. Say you've got a halfway point and you need something to help sustain you. Doing something like that is great. But plant-based protein powders are really great and help the body. Lysine, and if we have lysine with a carbohydrate, such as in a smoothie, it really gets into the muscles even faster when you combine an amino acid with a carbohydrate. Omega-3 fatty fishes, sardines, mackerels, salmons, anchovies, herrings, smelts, trout, they're all rich in omega-3 fatty acids. And studies have shown that they can lower the risk of heart disease and stroke. Certain fish, such as sharks, swordfish, king mackerel, and tilefish, contain higher levels of mercury. And again, we'll consume those less often. So the smaller the fish, the higher the omega, pretty much. The bigger the fish, the longer they live, the more toxins they're able to collect over the years. So smaller fish better, and you get a lot of really good blended omega-3 supplements that have sardines, mackerel, anchovies, and herrings, and that's a really good combination. They're all small fish. They're medium feeders. They're not top feeders. Bottom feeders are more like the swordfish and the sharks, and that's where they can be a little bit fattier. How to include it into your diet, it's easy. Buy it fresh, frozen. You can roast, grill, steam. Baking is dead easy. They're quick, they're really easy to make. I mean, if you get a really nice piece of trout, you can cook that in 10-15 minutes by roasting it. It's really easy. It's just really good for you. And eat the skin, because when you look at fish, the brown part of the flesh has the highest amount of omega-3s in it. So that's the ones you really want. No. Avocados, and I know we all know avocados are a superfood, but eating avocados has been regularly associated with a lower risk of heart disease or metabolic syndrome, which is the precursor to diabetes, and even certain types of cancers. It's rich in fiber, vitamins, minerals, healthy fats. It's very alkaline. So if we look at the pH scale, being 0 being very acid and 11 being very alkaline, avocados are 11. So it goes to 11. So it's a really great all over food. They're high in monosaturated fats, or MUFAs. And we've linked this to reduce inflammation in the body. So if you have avocados along with omega-3s, you've got really great anti-inflammatory foods there. Eating an avocado, again, may reduce your risk of heart disease, diabetes, metabolic syndrome, other kinds of cancers. How to include them? Oh my goodness, put them in anything and everything. Make a creamy smoothie bowl, pudding by adding raw cacao, add guacamole to any whole grain wrap, mash them with hard-boiled eggs for an egg salad instead of mayonnaise. That's what I do. A friend of mine showed me that. I was like, boom, perfect. And it's a great way of being able to add really good fats into something that's protein, and you can get that into your system really easily. Kale or dark leafy greens, we love our kale. Kale, and we're talking about Swiss chard, collard greens, turnip greens, spinach, rapini. These are all excellent sources of zinc, folate, magnesium, calcium, vitamin A, C, K, fiber, iron, B vitamins as well are in there. Studies have shown that dark leafy greens such as kale can reduce your risk of chronic illness such as type 2 diabetes and heart disease. So if you're seeing a theme here, whole foods, this is what superfoods do. They also contain high levels of anti-inflammatory compounds known as carotenoids, which may protect against certain types of cancers. And how to include them? Try varieties such as spinach, Swiss chard, kale, collard greens, mustard greens. Saute them, grill them, put them into a smoothie, and throw them into salads, saute them with a little olive oil and a bunch of onion and garlic. Boom, done. And you can also add them to soups and stews as well. Things like spinach tend to break down quite quickly into soups and stews. But when you get turnip greens, collard greens, and Swiss chard, those chopped up and put into a soup are a little hardier, and they tend to not disappear like spinach will. But even if you just want to puree it into a soup or a smoothie, it's beautiful, and it just adds a really nice earthy flavor. Berries, we love our berries. They are nutrient powerhouses. They have vitamins, minerals, soluble fiber, strong antioxidants, and there are phytochemicals in there. The capacity of berries is associated with a reduced risk of heart disease, cancer, and other inflammatory conditions. So it's really good for people with like Crohn's, colitis. We have to watch berries with seeds, especially with people with diverticulitis, but if you puree it and then sieve it, then you don't have to worry about that if someone has diverticulitis. Some of the most common berries, again, we have raspberries, strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, cranberries. There's also goji berries that are very high on the ORAC scale. Blueberries are very high on the ORAC scale, so are cranberries. And being able to put a few of these into a smoothie would be a great way. I mean, no, cranberries are very tart, but if you put them into a smoothie, then you still get the antioxidants without having that tartness. You get a high intake of phytochemicals known as flavonoids with these foods. They're found in blueberries as well as other kind of berries, and they may reduce the risk of certain kinds of heart conditions in young women. And again, how to include them? Well, there's every way you can include them. You can put them in your breakfast, as a dessert, on a salad, in a smoothie. You can have them on their own, just pop, 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 and as your snack during the day. They're just great to incorporate anytime during the day. Raw cacao. Now, for you chocoholics out there, this is some awesome food here. Raw cacao has high levels of flavonoids, which have been shown to boost heart health by reducing cholesterol levels, insulin resistance, and blood pressure. Raw cacao. Again, the cacao bean is also a good source of protein, potassium, EFAs, essential fatty acids, calcium, magnesium, chromium. Chromium is used for managing of our blood sugars. Zinc is our immune system and every enzymatic activity in the body. Sulfur and amino acid tryptophan. So tryptophan is our nice snoozy, help us sleep kind of chemical. And this is found naturally in cacao. And of course, magnesium is as well. It helps enhance relaxation, boost mood, and it promotes better sleep. How to include raw cacao? Let me count the ways. Again, we can use it. It's really endless. You can put it into a smoothie. You can put it into cakes. You can put it into biscuits, muffins. If you wish to retain more of the antioxidants, you can make raw foods and add raw cacao to like protein balls, raw brownies, tarts, healthy mousses. And if you add raw cacao with avocado, blended together with a little bit of alternative milk, whether it's rice or almond milk, it makes a really nice pudding. And then just putting a little bit of honey with it for sweetness. And that's really all you need. Put that in the fridge. Don't tell your kids it's raw cacao and avocado. They'll eat it. So good. Green tea. So green tea we know is rich in antioxidants and polyphenic compounds, which are strong anti-inflammatory effects. And it's one of the most prevalent antioxidants in green tea is EGCG. And I think you probably hear this an awful lot with weight loss. There's pills that are called EGCG pills. And again, this is what gives green tea its ability to protect against chronic diseases and again, heart disease and diabetes and cancer. It also is an indication that the combination of catechins and caffeine in green tea may make it an effective tool for weight loss in some people. And if you have green tea as you're consuming a vitamin C rich food, whether it is a tomato, a pepper, or an orange, it helps your body absorb more of that vitamin C. that's what part of that antioxidant effect is with the green tea. It helps us being able to absorb more of that vitamin C. So how to include it? Brew leaves at home, drink it hot. Iced tea, iced green tea is really nice. Add a bit of honey to it. Cooled, you can use it as a base in smoothies, or just do an iced green tea and take it on the road. But it has caffeine in it, but it's low caffeine, about the same caffeine as a decaf coffee. Eggs, oh, had me for days. I love eggs personally. Eggs have historically been controversial subject in the nutrition world, but they remain one of the healthiest foods. Eggs on the bioavailability scale between 0 and 100, eggs are 100. So that's how fast all the nutrients in that little tiny egg can get absorbed into our body. So when we're talking about bioavailability, eggs are the highest bioavailable food that we have. Whole eggs are rich in many nutrients, B vitamins, choline. Choline is a nerve conductor, so we need that for nerve conduction. Selenium. Selenium is really great for keeping our arteries nice and smooth and keeping that pumping action going. Vitamin A we need for mucosal linings. Vitamin A we also need for our eyes. Iron, phosphorus. And again, these are all loaded with high quality protein and two potent antioxidants, zeaxanthin and lutein, which are known to protect against vision and eye health. And then egg consumption and high cholesterol research indicates no measurable increase in heart disease or diabetes from eating up to 6 to 12 eggs a week. Now, I know there was a big thing in the 80s that eggs were bad, it causes rise in cholesterol. That's all been debunked. Those studies have never really been replicated. So if you like your eggs, have at it. Unless you're allergic, then not have at it. Eggs should be, again, have been shown to raise good cholesterol in some people, and which may lead to a favorable reduction in heart disease risk. More research is needed to draw a definitive conclusion of the good or the bad, but generally speaking, they're just a high bioavailable food, and they're really good to pop in even as a snack. Hard-boiled eggs in the fridge, and being able to just eat those when you're on the run is a great way of being able to get something into your stomach. You can add them to anything, breakfast, lunch, dinner, great for a pre-workout or post-workout snack, because amino acids are great for being able to rebuild our muscles after we work out. So whether we use a plant-based smoothie using plant-based protein, or whether we're using eggs, those are really great to into our mouth after a workout. And it's really an awesome, awesome food. And it's portable too, which is great. Legumes. So legumes are a class of plant food made up of beans, including soy, lentils, peas, peanuts, and alfalfa. They're a source rich in B vitamins, various minerals, protein, and fiber. They help manage blood sugars, because two things that slow down how fast your body processes foods is fat and fiber. So let's say you're going to an Italian restaurant, you really want to have that beautiful white, crusty Italian bread with your meal. That's fine. If you have olive oil, not so much the balsamic, a lot of sugar in balsamic, but if you have olive oil with that white bread, the olive oil will slow down how fast your body processes that white bread. White bread is very high on the glycemic index, but pair it with an olive oil, then that's a way of being able to slow down how fast your body processes it. So they are, fat and fiber are the two ways of being able to slow down. And legumes are really rich in B vitamins, various minerals, and protein and fiber. And the fiber also helps feed the good bugs in our gut. It starves the bad bugs, because sugar feeds bad bugs, but legumes are a good way of being able to sweep through. Again, we don't want to do a roto-rooter cleaning of our gut. We want to do a nice sweeping, a nice, just go through with a little sweep to clean out our gut. And when we do that, that's what legumes do. That fiber grabs onto cholesterol, it grabs onto bad bugs, it grabs onto microbes, and it'll take it and evacuate it out of the body. And at the same time, the legumes, that fiber will feed, the insoluble fiber will actually feed the good bugs that are in the gut. And this is how they help manage blood sugars. They increase the motility of the gut, because that's what fiber does, it bulks. They feed the good bugs, they promote healthy weight maintenance, and they improve the ability to give you feelings of fullness. So it gives you that, if you're looking at leptin and ghrelin, and those are hunger and our satiation hormones, it gives you that feeling of fullness. So you don't have to eat a lot to be able to make yourself feel full. How to add them? Oh gosh, tons of ways. So soups, salads, casseroles, make chili or a bean-based spread such as hummus. Combined with whole grain pasta, and you could have there's a complete protein for a vegetarian or a vegan consumption. So, you know, let's say you have a whole grain orzo pasta and you're mixing that with some black beans together in a salad with a bunch of vegetables in there. That's a great way of being able to satisfy a vegetarian or a vegan and give them a complete protein. So combining those whole grains with legumes gives you a complete protein. Tomatoes, very high in vitamin C and lycopene. And lycopene has been shown to reduce the risk of prostate cancer. And lycopene becomes more available to your body when you use tomatoes are prepared and heated and with a healthy fat, such as an olive oil. So lycopene, raw tomato sliced on a sandwich, not so much. Lycopene really comes out when it's cooked. So we need a tomato sauce for our body to be able to have it really bioavailable for us to pick up. And again, there's no study that I've seen that shows that lycopene as a supplement is beneficial to the body. And usually the ones that are saying it is, it's ones that are coming from the manufacturers. But lycopene as a food, because we're having all the phytonutrients included in eating the whole food, makes it more bioavailable to the body, and therefore the uptake into the body and the benefits of having the whole food far outweighs ever having just a supplement. Again, tomatoes salad, you can have it soup sauce over your pasta. You can put them in soup, stews, chili, and tomatoes are endless. And unfortunately, it's one of those foods that you can't sub out. So if you, let's say you have arthritis and you're trying to avoid nightshades, tomato is classified as a nightshade, which is a pro-inflammatory food. And it's hard to make a chili without tomatoes. I mean, I've got a good recipe for one with sweet potatoes, but still, it's one of those foods that there's really no good substitute for, because tomatoes are just delicious fruit. Nuts and seeds, again, they're rich in fiber. It's a vegetarian protein, it's a vegan protein, and there's some good heart healthy fats in that. Again, they contain plant compounds, they're anti-inflammatory, they have antioxidant properties, and they can help protect us against oxidative stress. Common nuts and seeds includes almonds, pecans, pistachios, walnuts, cashews, Brazil nuts, macadamia nuts. Peanuts are technically a legume, but often referred to as a nut. Sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, chia seeds, flax seeds, hemp seeds, these are all really good as well. Chia seeds are very high in omega-3. So if someone is a vegan or a vegetarian out there, chia seeds are really great. Flax seeds are a phytoestrogen, so they help bind onto sites so that extra estrogen cannot bind onto the sites. So it reduces, it has an effect on reducing estrogen dominance in women. These nutrient powerhouses are packed with nutrition, fiber, and great omegas. They're also packed with calories. So you always have to measure out. And it's really funny because I don't know how many classes I've taught. And I'm like, okay, so you have to go in and really it's the size of a Post-it stamp, Post-it note, like a 3x3 Post-it note. That should be your portion control for nuts and seeds, not a handful onto the desk, put it away, take it out, take another handful out. You have to really monitor how much you're eating because they are so nutrient dense, and it's the fats. And fats, carbs and proteins are 9 grams of 9 calories per every gram. When you're talking about fats, you're talking about 9 calories for every gram. So they're very nutrient dense. They're almost twice what you get from having carbs and fats. How to include them? Put them in an oatmeal, have them as a snack, carry them in a little baggie or a container in your purse if you want to manage your blood sugar. Nut butters, peanut, almond, pumpkin, cashew, really great way of being able to facilitate having a nut butter with a fruit. I always like making sure people don't just have a fruit on its own, combining it with a nut butter or with like a goat cheese is a good way, always combine it with a protein. Nuts also add a great crunch to salads, and just having them on their own is great. If you want to make your own nut barge, you can do that as well and take those with you. It's a healthy way of being able to take food with you on the go. And it's funny, I met with somebody one time, and it was this referral from my chiropractor, and he was having an issue, whereas he was, she met him through one of the CrossFit gyms, and he was having an issue, CrossFit, he was having problems where he'd have to run to the bathroom. I'm not gonna be graphic. I found out during my little interview that he was having a handful of cashews and a handful of unsulfured apricots. before he would work out. I'm like, that's great, but that's the problem. You have fiber on top of fiber, and then you're working out. So it means your motility, your gut's going even faster. So it was great that he was combining those things. I just advised him to have them after the workout instead of before the workout. Sweet potatoes, squash, and beets, all things colorful. Again, sweet potato squash are rich in fiber, potassium, vitamin C, beta carotene, very high in beta carotene. Now, beta carotene, you might notice this in a lot of supplements. They've removed vitamin A, which is retinol, which can be an issue in great doses, and they've replaced it with beta carotene. So beta carotene in our body will convert to vitamin A as our body needs it, as long as we have a healthy liver and we have a healthy kidneys. But that's why beta carotene is so good, because your body will convert it over time as needed. And again, sweet potatoes are an excellent source of carotenoids, which have been shown to potentially reduce the risk of certain cancers. And again, these carotenoids and the beta carotene really good for healing the mucosal lining. And that means from your mouth to your bottom. That's all mucosal lining. Your sinuses are mucosal linings. And being able to have lots of sweet potato, squash, and beets is really good for being able to heal that mucosal lining. Beets are really dense with nutrients. They have potassium, betaine, magnesium, folate, vitamin C. They're a good dose of nitrates, good nitrates, and beets can also help reduce blood pressure, anemia. They can improve circulation, cognitive function, and beets can improve your workout too, because they increase nitric oxide to help with blood flow, which also helps reduce blood pressure. You just got to watch, make sure you're not giving too many to somebody with low blood pressure, but nitric oxide is really good to get blood back into the muscles, flow, so it increases blood flow. How to include them: roasted, sauteed, raw, mashed, blended, sliced, diced. Add to a meal, a salad, a smoothie. You can pickle them any way but Sunday. You can put them in. I use raw beets in my smoothie, and it makes it beautiful and purple. And then it's also given me all those nutrient dense foods, and it's photocyanthins as well, which is the bluey color that's in beets. That's very, very nutrient dense. Mushrooms. Again, their most common varieties, edible mushrooms, are buttons, portobellos, shiitake, cremini, oyster mushrooms. Nutrient content varies depending on the type. Mushrooms contain vitamin A and D, potassium, fiber, several antioxidants, not present in other foods. It also contains a good amount of folate. Due to their unique antioxidant content, mushrooms may also play a role in reducing inflammation and preventing certain types of cancers. It has been shown to be a bit of a cancer, not a cancer booster, but anti-cancer boost. So having like mushroom soup and mushrooms as part of a meal. So for vegetarians or for vegans, taking portobello, a shiitake, and an oyster mushroom or cremini, and then chopping them really finely in a food processor, and then putting that into a spaghetti or into a chili. It's a really great meat substitute for people who are vegans or vegetarians, but it gives you the same kind of texture as a meat, but without the meat. And it's a good way to go have a couple of vegetarian meals, 2 to 3 a week is recommended. Again, you can saute them, you can roast them, you can stuff them, slice them into a salad or a soup. Any way is a good way to consume mushrooms. They're just a really good nutrient powerhouse. Fermented foods, and I know we're all really very cognizant of the fermented foods such as kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi, tempeh, kombucha, miso. Again, these are all heavily sought after by consumers right now. They offer a broad range of health benefits. They're antioxidants, they're antimicrobial, they're antifungal, they're anti-inflammatory, anti-diabetic. So there's a lot of good antis in there, which is great. Kombucha's exact origins are uncertain, but legend has it that it dates back to 221 BC in China during the Qing Dynasty. It's packed full of live cultures that are proven to support your digestion and your immune system. If we support our gut, that's our immune powerhouse right there. Tea, which kombucha has within it, is usually high in polyphenols, especially if you're using like an organic oolong tea, which is a fermented tea. These antioxidants protect the cells. The fermentation process also triggers organic acids. In turn, they help to detoxify the liver and aid digestion. Now, there's 2 phases of liver detoxification, and being able to have enough nutrients to go from phase 1 to phase 2 effectively is really key, and consuming a lot of the foods I'm talking about today will help you achieve that. Its probiotic effects will give the body a vitamin B boost that will reduce and bloat and sluggishness. It will make you feel energized. Other ingredients like herbs, fruits, and berries will also have their health benefits if you include that into a kombucha. Kefir or yogurt is a fermented beverage made from milk that contains protein, calcium, B vitamins, potassium, and probiotics. Kefir is similar to yogurt, but has thinner consistency and is typically more probiotic strains than in a yogurt. Probiotic foods like kefir have been associated with several health benefits, including reduced cholesterol, lowered blood pressure, improved digestion, anti-inflammatory effects. You can purchase kefir, you can make it yourself. Again, if you're choosing a commercially prepared product, be mindful of the added sugar, because some of them have boatloads of sugar in it. And just to give you an idea, so 1 sugar cube is 4 grams. So let's say it has 9 grams of sugar. Well, you know that that's going to be 2 and a bit sugar cubes for that serving. That's not too bad. The lower sugar you can have, the better. If you can get a plain kefir and use that in a smoothie, that would be probably a better way of being able to use it, and adding natural sugars as opposed to added sugars. How to include it into your diet? Try eating it more yogurt. Try to eat more kefir. Watch out for fruited or flavored yogurts, because they can be very, very high in sugar. And again, if you look at the little pots of yogurt that little kids go to school with, the smaller ones, there's 12 grams of sugar in some of those, and that's a lot. That's 5 sugar cubes in that little tiny pot of yogurt. So being able to look and get your child used to having that tartness of plain yogurt would be better. Look for yogurts that have live active cultures, such as Lactobacillus, L. acidophilus, and L. vulgaris, and S. thermophilus. Can never say those words properly. You can use yogurt in place of mayonnaise or sour cream and dips in sausage. You can make a really great, using plain yogurt, you can make a really great tzatziki as well. Garlic, yum. Cruciferous vegetables. So again, we've got broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, cauliflower, collard greens, kale, kohlrabi, mustard greens, radishes, turnips. Those are all considered cruciferous vegetables. They're an excellent source of fiber. There's vitamins, phytochemicals, including indoles, which are anti-cancer, thiocyanates, there's nitriles, glutamine. Glutamine is really good for healing the gut, and which may prevent some kinds of cancer in all of those nutrients. Fiber, we know, the faster we move things through our gut, the better. How to include them? Steam, stir fry, adding healthy oils and herbs for seasoning and to add flavor. Try adding frozen cruciferous vegetable medleys to soups, stews, casseroles, pasta dishes. Personally, I like taking the purple cabbage and I slice it really thin with some onions and some garlic, and I saute that. Or I'll do the same with cabbage. I'll just chop up cabbage and add onions, garlic, and a little bit of olive oil and saute that. And it's just a really good accompaniment. And it takes you out of the boredom of COVID eating, where you're eating the same thing, it feels like, every single day. But it's a great way also to add in. Now, people with thyroid issues should always cook these kinds of foods, because it can block your body's uptake of iodine. So being able to eat these foods, it's not forbidden, it just always has to be cooked. If someone has Graves' disease, they're better to have it raw than they are to have it cooked, because they need their goitrogens to be able to slow down how fast their body is going. Oops, sorry, wrong way. There we go. Garlic. I've mentioned garlic a few times. Garlic is just a great food. I love garlic. Again, it's closely related to onions, leeks, and shallots. It's a good source of manganese, vitamin C, B6, selenium, and fiber. And B6 is used for our hormone health. And then selenium, we know, is really good for the elasticity of our arteries. It's a popular and culinary ingredient due to its distinct flavor, but it also been used for medicinal benefits for centuries. It's been used as an anti-parasitic for centuries as well. So people will chop up in Italy, they chop up fresh garlic, put a little bit of olive oil in it, and boom, down it goes. And it's really good at being able to kill off some parasites. Research indicates that garlic may be effective in reducing cholesterol and blood pressure, as well as supporting immune function. Again, having it as a whole food, much better than ever having it as a supplement. It's a sulfur-containing compound in garlic that may play a role in preventing certain types of cancers. And again, if people have problems digesting garlic, onions, leeks, or shallots, then you're just going to want to reduce the amount that they have and not have that many, or offer a digestive enzyme to go with the health benefits of these foods. And actually another high sulfur food in there that's not included is cucumber. Cucumbers are a high sulfur food, and some people can have a lot of digestive upset with having high sulfur foods, and it just means that they need probably a digestive enzyme to get their body to be able to digest those a little bit easier. How to include them in your diet? Well, garlic can be added to dressings or on top of baked foods, such as chicken, or great on fish. Put that on fish and roast that. It's great in pasta sauces. Roasted garlic is mellow and sweet. It can be used in a variety of dishes, or you can just spread that on toast with a little bit of avocado on top. It's yum, yum, yum. There's really endless ways of being able to include garlic into everyday meals. Olive oil, we know this as the Mediterranean diet, one of the healthiest diets out there. Again, it's very high in monounsaturated fat, so it's MUFAs, and there are polyphenic compounds in it as well. Again, adding olive oil to your diet can reduce inflammation, any risk of illness such as heart disease or diabetes. It also contains antioxidants such as E and K, which can protect against cellular damage or oxidative stress. How to use it? In the place of butter or margarine in pasta or rice dishes, drizzle over vegetables and roast them in dressings, sauteing. Again, when you're talking about olive oil, the lighter the oil, the more you can use it for frying. The darker the oil, the more you want to use it for raw. So if you have a really, really light olive oil, you can use that for some frying in a pan. But if you have a really dark olive oil, really lovely olive colored olive oil, you're going to want to keep that raw, keep it on dressings, and then maybe put it on top of something as an accompaniment. So let's say you just made a really beautiful hummus and you just want to put a little olive oil on top. Using that dark olive oil on top is a really great way of being able to incorporate that into your everyday meals. Again, caution with olive oil. I love olive oil, but I can go a little crazy with it as far as quantities are concerned because it is so nutrient dense. So you just have to watch your quantities. Ginger root, again, may be effective for managing nausea, reducing pain from acute or chronic inflammatory conditions, especially when we're talking about any kind of form of IBD, celiac, or in diverticulitis. Again, it might reduce your risk of chronic illness such as heart disease, dementia, or certain types of cancers. Available fresh as an oil or a juice in dried or powdered forms or pickled. Anyone's been for sushi? Consider having ginger root tea after most meals. That helps digestion. So what I recommend is to take about a 2-inch knob of ginger, slice it really thin, put it into a teapot with a little bit of honey, pour boiling water over it, let it steep, give it a bit of a stir, and 5 minutes later, you get a beautiful fresh ginger tea that's really good to help digestions. And if someone's feeling a bit queasy after having a meal, it's a good way to calm down that as well. It's easy to incorporate in soups, stir fries, sauces, or steeped as a tea. It's just, again, the fresh is better when it comes to ginger root. Turmeric or curcumin root, again, it's an active compound in turmeric is curcumin, as potent antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects, really good for people with arthritis. It shows that curcumin may be effective in treating and preventing chronic illness such as cancer, heart disease, and diabetes. Also may help wound healing and pain reduction, especially helps those afflicted with arthritis. One drawback of curcumin, medicinally, it's not easily absorbed by our gut, but the absorption can be enhanced if we have it with black pepper. So if you're going to have turmeric in, I put turmeric into my green goddess dressing, and it's amazing. It just adds that little bit of a tartness to it, and then adding in the pepper, you get that added nutrient bang for your buck. Obviously, it's added to a curry, but you can use it in stir fries, dressings, sauces. You can make a golden milk tea. I prefer to use the fresh turmeric as opposed to the powdered turmeric, but you can use both, as long as the powdered turmeric is raw and it's in how it's been produced. Sea vegetables or seaweed, again, it's packed full of several nutrients and folate, including folate, vitamin K, iodine, great for our thyroid, and fiber for women. These bad boys right here are really good at sucking up a lot of iodine, and they will take iodine before it gets to the throat or before it gets to the thyroid. So being able to augment your diet with a little bit more iodine is optimal. Again, studies have shown that consuming seaweed can help lower blood pressure. It may be important in treating several chronic diseases such as diabetes, thyroid issues. Seaweed packs multiple nutrients, again, iodine and fiber. The ocean vegetables are a source of unique bioactive compounds, not typically present in land vegetables. So they are very unique to our diet. How to include them? Dried nori snacks are awesome. They can be eaten alone. You can add those to a salad, rice dish, miso, sushi. You can make with nori, dried with salt combinations such as an herbamare instead of table salt. So they have a dulse Himalayan salt blend from herbamare. That's a really good way of being able to add it into your diet. So incorporating more superfoods in your diet, again, start adding them to your go-to recipes, just a little bit at a time with your favorite meals. Your goal should always be to eat a variety of colorful, nutrient-dense foods. We want to meet the calorie needs for the day. We don't want to go over that. But when it comes to proper nutrition, we advocate a balanced variety of foods, moderation, adequacy, and portion control. And then, of course, the list of superfoods can help you achieve your overall goals in a really healthy way. So when it comes to the bottom line, when we're talking about superfoods, achieving optimal health through food and nutrition is about more than focusing on one or two of the latest food trends. And they do tend to cycle in, like sea hawthorn berry was really hip a couple of years ago. So there are ones that sort of cycle in and out. When I was in school with Vivian, it was goji berries were the biggest thing. So again, we always are an advocate of eating a variety of foods to be able to support the body in every day, including some or all the foods on this list. A part of a balanced whole foods diet will benefit your overall health and may prevent chronic diseases, as we saw throughout the whole presentation: diabetes, heart disease, cancers. Eating these whole foods are really, really beneficial to our overall health. And if you want, you can take a screen grab of this if you want. So this is one idea. We can put some of these foods into good use. So a nice avocado, chocolate, nut butter with bananas, smoothie bowl, which would be yum, yum, yum. And this is vegan, by the way. And then we can have a blueberry swirl smoothie, which is awesome. So again, you can use milk, you can use alternative milks, Greek yogurt, honey, vanilla, frozen banana, vanilla protein. Again, you can add in a plant protein base, Canadian blueberries, milk, honey, and then blend these guys up and just give it a wee bit of a stir, and you get this gorgeous drink, which I'd be more than happy to serve to anybody. It's beautiful. Thank you. Do you guys have any questions about what we talked about today? Hi, how are you?
Hi, Jocelyn. Great presentation. So one question that I have is, you provided a lot of information on a lot of superfood, power dense foods, and we all hear about going organic.
Yes.
So, and again, buying organic is also like, it's a bit expensive as well. So which foods do you recommend most to buy organic, and which are fine to even buy conventional?
I totally understand that as well. So what I normally do, I recommend to my patients is that if you're eating the whole food, it's best to buy organic. If you're eating food that has a skin, such an avocado or a pineapple, that to me might be okay to use as conventionally farmed. But if you're going to eat the whole food, especially apples, anything that's grown in the ground like beets or potatoes, and where you're going to be eating the whole food, then I recommend going organic if you can. And again, the more we choose organic, the less expensive it's going to get over time. I mean, when I was in school with Vivian, the cost of organic foods was really astronomical, and that's come down an awful lot over the years, which is really nice to see because more people are finding the value in it and choosing organic.
Thank you.
Okay.
Ask if you've heard of those adaptogenic tea blends, and if so, do you have an opinion on them?
Are you talking about adaptogens?
Yes. So they'll have adaptogens, and then they'll mix them with different superfood powders, and then you mix it for a blend, a drink.
I haven't personally used them. I tend to use the superfoods and the adaptogens separately and add them separately. So for instance, in my smoothie, I will put in ashwagandha powder, and I might put in raw cacao into a smoothie, the nibs. Do I do it as a tea? Generally speaking, no, but that doesn't mean you can't. And I have to say, I haven't really studied the adaptogens. Adaptogens, I don't blanket everybody with one treatment plan. I really customize. I mean, that's what we're doing. We do customized plans for everybody. And sometimes people are not keen on those kinds of teas. So that way you want to be able to be flexible and being able to add individual adaptogens based on their stress needs and what their body needs and what is palatable to them. But if you're finding teas are effective, have at it. I haven't seen any studies on it, to tell you the truth. Or any adaptogen teas, because I tend to do my own.
Thank you.
Okay. Sorry, that wasn't a great answer.
No, but holistic.
Keeping it individual is important for sure.
I have another question as well. I'm wondering how like a superfood that might cause inflammation in some people can still be considered a superfood. Is it because some people are affected by inflammation more easily?
So can you give me an example?
So like you said, the tomatoes?
Right, so tomatoes, yes, so tomatoes are pro-inflammatory because they are a nightshade. And nightshades and tomatoes are also part of the tobacco plant. So if someone is trying to quit smoking, I try and get them away from tomatoes as much as they can, because it might start them onto that path again. So a nightshade is a pro-inflammatory food. So people with arthritis should probably steer clear of the nightshades, which is tomatoes, potatoes, peppers, of all types, paprika, eggplants, and it's best to keep them away from that as much as they can, because they are pro-inflammatory. They are a superfood for sure, but they can be pro-inflammatory. So it's trying to find a substitute for those foods. So for instance, for peppers, things like kohlrabi is much higher in vitamin C and is really good for snacking as opposed to a pepper. Eggplants, they're kind of easy to remove from a diet for people who maybe aren't Italian because they are Mediterranean, because they really include a lot of eggplant within their meals. So again, that's the one food that is pro-inflammatory, that food group is pro-inflammatory. Homeopathically, belladonna is included in that as well. So I have to be careful of who I give belladonna to with people with pro-inflammatory issues. So yes, so they can be pro-inflammatory, and it's just switching out with other foods that are not as inflammatory. So for tomatoes, I switch it with sweet potatoes and squash and roasted garlic together. That kind of substitutes for making a good tomato sauce for your spaghetti or for chili.
Okay, thank you.
Hey.
It was really interesting how you threw in there about belladonna. So I'll look into more homeopathic that are pro-inflammatory as well.
Yeah, so there are a few. I mean, even though it's an energetic medicine, I still have to be careful who I give that to. And again, that's always on a client by client basis, and dosing is huge with homeopathic, and that's very individual as well.
Yeah, okay, thank you.